I'm here today with Lisa. I almost said Lisa Thompson.
I know her. I know her. Good friend.
This is not my best take.
It's all right. We'll start over.
You can't just shoot an animal anywhere without thinking about what supplies you have to get it out, and if the terrain allows for easy back and forth access. For example, you don't want to shoot a bull moose across a 100-foot deep ravine. How would you get that back to your vehicle? I'm here today with Donnelle Johnson. She's actually one of the first people I ever went on a hunt with. I was filming her for a video for Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and it was the first time I'd ever been with hunters out in the field, actively doing a big game hunt. And I remember being like, I really want you to get one because I'm gonna cry.
Oh my God, I want you to cry.
Yeah. And we got lost, and then we saved ourselves, and we had maps as resources that we used, and it was really cool to be out there in that adventure together. And that is where I learned and realized that hunting is not just about pulling the trigger. In fact, that is this much of hunting, I would say. True. And the rest is just this grand adventure and then food for your fridge.
Absolutely.
I wanted Donnelle to tell you a couple of amazing stories about packing out. She has many, many decades of experience hunting. So she has a wide range of stories, good stories that went well and stories that could have gone better. Can you tell me about some packing out strategy 101, a situation where it went really well?
So a situation where it went really well was just this last season in 2019. I drew a moose tag. I waited 21 years to get that with Parks and Wildlife, and it took me 21 days to actually get the successful bow shot that I needed.
You were out there for 21 days hunting?
21 days, and when I came back and checked the head, because you have to do that with Parks and Wildlife, you have to circle every day, and I was like, was I really in the forest for 21 days? But yeah, I only had one day left, and that last day in Walden was about 80-mile-an-hour winds. So it was really my last day. I had been as far back as 7-8 miles in swampy water, ended up shooting him probably 300 yards from a road. I was able to pack him out. My son carried each quarter out by himself. That's his claim to fame. He carried out my entire moose, which they can weigh like 1,200 pounds, so it's a big deal. Had I shot him 6 or 7 miles back in the swamps, I would have hated myself. So I was able to get a four-wheel drive vehicle back into there, and the moose is absolutely even bigger.
They're really big.
Than an elk, and
yeah.
They're big, 1,200 pounds. It took 4 of us to carry the head, and I thought about all the times that I was back in the swamps, and 7 or 8 miles back, and I can't imagine trying to jump from bog to bog. You don't want to shoot something and then lose it, because that's the prize, is eating it for the next winter, with your family.
Yeah.
And friends.
And for some people that is their food. That is it. So that's the same with you too?
Oh yeah, my kids that are now 23, 25, 27, when they actually went to a friend's house when they were younger, they said, Mom, they served us this meat and it was greasy. Well, they didn't know better because they'd never had hamburger, because wow, that is our meat, that is our source.
That's my goal, is to one day get to the point where all of my meat comes from hunting, because I was just so proud on this last hunt of being able to do that and know exactly where my food came from. That is now my goal. What are some top few tips before you take a shot and right after you take a shot?
Always know where you're at. Don't shoot something 10 miles back unless you have the manpower to get it out. I had a story where I literally shot it back in the wilderness. It was the last day. I didn't want to not fill that tag, so I went further back in the wilderness. I knew that meant I was adding a lot of time to getting that out. And so I was 3 miles back, and it took me 25 hours to get that elk out. 25 hours, and there was 3 of us. Now, had I been completely by myself, there's still ways to doing that. When you've cleaned it, if you get it in a bag, a carcass bag, and you get it, even we have some snow around us here today, but if you can find some shade under a tree next to a stream with a little bit of snowpack, we'll put that there. We'll take an undershirt off that we have that has our human scent. We'll lay it over it because the coyotes won't mess with that.
What happens if you're hunting alone and you get a moose or something? I've heard of people having people on call. I've heard of people, just bringing people on the hunt to pack out with them. That's a thing, apparently.
Right.
Do you have anything like that?
With my elk that I shot 3 days before my moose, I contacted some guys I knew that were hunting about an hour from me because I do have a bad neck. But there are ways to take care of the meat. Like I said, get it in the shade, get it on a snowpack if there is some there, or hang it up really high. A lot of people will do that because in the Rocky Mountains, that's where we have the advantage over being in the Midwest or something. It does get cold at night in the Rockies, so a lot of times that'll freeze for you. The main thing you have to care about is predators. The other thing that's, I would look into is the gutless method.
What is that?
Well, so it's basically taking off each quarter, and then when you pull the hide down, you can get your back straps and go in through the rib cage and actually get your tenderloins, and it's bloodless. So it's quicker, it's cleaner.
We definitely did the gut full method. There's a lot of guts in our method.
There's just a lot of things you need to keep in mind when you're planning that hunt.
You might want to take like an extra day before you have to go back to work just in case you get a moose on your last day.
Exactly. Well, and that's what happened in the one I told you we went 3 miles back. I was planning on being at work on Monday, so all of a sudden now I packed out all through the night, 25 hours, and then I still had to drive back home to work, so I missed my work. I missed work on Monday. Got a cold.
Oh, just come down with something. Just feel allergies are just really bad.
So yeah, those things happen.
What are some takeaway steps that people can do next if they want to find out more resources or other people that can help them? What would you say?
There's more information available today with things like YouTube and online groups, Facebook groups. Parks and Wildlife has great, vast resources thanks to this lady right here putting a lot of video content out there. But there's really no excuses today. I have a lot of people say, I just don't know where to start. Well, say, you go on Google and say how to bone out an elk. And you can do it in YouTube, you can do it on Facebook, and there is so much information out there. There really is. Hunting Divas, that's our nonprofit. We take ladies out and teach them how to call, teach them how to clean things out. But that is, you have to know how to take care of that meat once you pull the trigger. The pulling the trigger was the easy part.
Yeah.
The rest is challenging, but it can be a lot of fun. You can make it fun. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Okay, wave to everybody. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
My deer was harvested with easy access to it by car, but that's not how it's always going to be. What packing out strategies do you need for your hunt? What tools and equipment are required? Make a list, but again, see what you can borrow from friends before going to the store. I'm interested in hearing some packing out horror stories. If you know of any or have some of your own, leave them in the comments below so we can learn from your mistakes before we make ones of our own. Hey everyone, thanks for following along on my big game hunting journey. Hunting license dollars are a super important source of funding for the wildlife conservation work that Colorado Parks and Wildlife does for all species in Colorado, not just the game species you can hunt. So we want to make it as easy as possible for you to buy a hunting license. If you've ever thought about going hunting or just considered the possibility, be sure to hit up our website or give us a call for more information. We'll link all the information in the YouTube description. If you like this video series and you want to see more videos that we make at Colorado Parks and Wildlife, be sure to subscribe on the YouTube link below. Thanks for watching.